All right, again, welcome everybody to the second breakout session of the Transitions Academy Fall Convening. This one is building partnerships between adult education providers. And we have a lot of wonderful partners here and some partnerships to highlight for you. So this is going to be a great session. I'm glad you chose it. I will mention that all of the PowerPoints, the slides are making their way onto the agenda, and you can access them there. If they're not there yet, they will be for certain sessions. And we are recording, so all the sessions will be available for you in the coming week or so. So I want to say thank you to our presenters today. We have Julie Frost from District 211, and she's also from 214, but I'm going to let her tell me exactly, because I always get that one wrong, which one she's representing today. Nancy Moore from Harper College, thank you for being here. And then Margaret Segerston from ROE 33, and her partners, Kang-hee Hong and Ellen Burns from Carl Sandburg College. And they also shared this morning in another session, so you might be getting double duty for them, but I'm sure they're still going to share some nuggets of some great information for you. So before I turn it over to our presenters, I just want to say again, thank you to the presenters, and thank you to everybody who is working hard to support our learners across Illinois. You are greatly appreciated. So with that, let me stop my share and let Julie bring up her slides.
But I think you can see them now. So welcome to our session. So I represent both districts 211 and 214 in this partnership, along with Harper College. And so we were going to talk to you a little bit about a unique relationship that we had and the reason why we went to that one. So I belong to two different local education agencies. And I went to the first Transitions Academy many, many years ago. Did not bring a team, was just myself representing 211 at that point, and was sitting with many, many people from community colleges. And I think there were a couple CBOs there listening to what the law was and trying to figure out how we were going to participate in this. And I know Sarah kept saying, it's okay, it'll work out, keep working on it. So we did that for many, many years. And our problem was, being a local education agency, we did not have the ability to give credits to anybody. We're not an accrediting association, only for the day school, high school students. And so what we've always done is provide ESL or high school credit, or in District 214, Women's and Children's Center, Read to Learn, citizenship programs for our adults, hoping to give back to the community and maybe increase or strengthen the skills of some of our parents, of some of our students. So we had a difficult time trying to figure out how we would fit into this. Harper is in our APC, and that's usually where we were referring students to. So we'd get them to go to Harper once they left our programs, take classes there, and continue with their education. But that wasn't part of what we all was asking for. So I started trying to find different solutions to this, and there was a new college that came into our area, Northwest Suburban College. They were working on giving credentials in dental assistant, medical assistant, and pharmacy tech. So District 211 picked medical assistant, and we went to them and said, we can offer a support class for you, because they didn't have a support class. They didn't have a CTE side of their college like Harper does. And 214 then did the same thing, but talked about using a support class for pharmacy tech. But as I believe Tiffany Olson mentioned from Oakton, this was a very difficult task because the teachers felt that we were trying to steal their curriculum, so maybe to start our own schools. And we kept explaining, it was a collaboration. We're here to help support our students through your process. We were here to increase their math and reading skills, give them some strategies possibly for parts of the curriculum, their curriculum, that they may be having difficulty with. But to this date, even though it's been, I believe, 3 years now, due to the turnover rate at their college, because they're getting started, we have not run a single class. And of course, the mandate last year was that everybody had to have some people in their classes. So we approached Sarah and Tara, because I remember them talking about a possibility of forming a partnership. And so we entered a partnership with Harper College, and in District 211, I'm the ESL coordinator, but in District 214, I'm the transitions coordinator. So I'll show you what the form looks like. So it's an ICAP/IET program agreement that we fill out, and you can only have 2 partners with it. So 211 filled it out with Harper, and then 214 also filled it out with Harper. And basically the partners' names are there, and then what are the contributions going to be, who's going to do what, and then a signature. And then of course the college needed to tell what their approved ICAPs were. So at the time that we filled this out last spring, we were able then to get it approved so that our bridge programs, which we'll talk about in a few minutes, then can get students to Harper College and count for an ICAPS, even though we're not accrediting anything, the college will be doing the accreditation. So Nancy then will, from Harper College, will continue to talk about what bridge programs are offered there.
Hi, so I'm Nancy Moore, and I am the Adult Career Transitions Coordinator at Harper College. And at Harper right now, the ICAPS programs that we are currently running, or the ICAPS programs that we do, let me go back to the bridge classes, I apologize. So we are currently running Bridge to College and Career Success, Bridge to Healthcare, and Bridge to Office Careers. The Bridge to College and Career Success class that we're running, our goal is to seamlessly transfer students into their next semester, or I should say their first semester of Harper College. So by doing this, we have students do career exploration in this Bridge to College and Career Success. Students do career exploration. They work on time management. They complete the application to become students at Harper College. They learn all about financial aid for those that are eligible. They complete the FAFSA. They learn about all of the resources and that they'll need to be successful first-year students. And one of the most they do learn about all of the courses that they would need to take for their program, and they do register for their courses. Our goal is that when students complete the Bridge to College and Career Success class, that they just transition seamlessly into their first semester, and they're not doing it on their own. They're getting that help, because our ultimate goal is for them to be successful and to have that confidence when they start at Harper. So another thing too is the Bridge to College and Career Success. We're also working with the college, because the requirements are not only the requirements for the bridge class, but they're also the requirements that that Harper needs for the mandatory first-year seminar class that all credit-seeking students need to take. So it's kind of a win-win, because they're getting everything that they normally would have gotten in their first semester, and they're getting a head start on it. And this class is offered all of the bridge classes are offered the second half of the semester, so that students can seamlessly transfer when they complete that semester.
In District 214, they had built some bridges as well. So due to the fact that we're in the northwest suburbs of Chicago, manufacturing and healthcare seem to be 2 huge industries needing a lot of workers. So according to Elwea, that's what we learned about, and that's why we started with these 2 first. So Wheeling and Schaumburg are in the backyard, so to speak, of our demographics. And so we wanted to build a manufacturing bridge first. So students with lower levels then could start learning some of the vocabulary that's needed, what the industry is like, what the expectations are, and so on. We did the same thing with healthcare bridge, so they could find out what different possible jobs are being offered there. Again, what requirements they might need in order to be successful and to get into the programs. And then, of course, for everything, all the bridges that we have, is to find out, how much money they can make. Are there stackable credentials? What could their goal be if they get this first one and get into a training program? College and Career Ready came out from the fact that there were many students who weren't interested in healthcare and manufacturing, but did want to do some learning. So we took more of the career pathway approach, where they will learn about whatever career they are interested in. And then this turned out to be a great segue then into our partnership with Harper, because Harper offers so much more than just healthcare and manufacturing. And then we are still continuing to try to get the support class for the pharmacy technicians certificate or certification off the ground with Northwest Suburban College. District 211 then, again, being in the same APC, even though we were duplicating a little bit of the services, we wanted to make sure that all students in all areas of our APC had this opportunity. So we thought it was worth it to also do a bridge in health science and medical terminology. We copied the College and Career Ready bridge from District 214 and started it this year for our agreement with Harper College. And again, we're trying to run that support class, this time for medical assistant program, with Northwest Suburban College.
So now to the ICAPS classes that I was started to talk about earlier. Harper currently has 4 approved ICAPS programs. The one that we are running at this moment is the Accounting Bookkeeper Clerk Certificate. So this ICAPS program has actually come in clutch for many of our students this year. We have, like many of you, have many highly educated immigrants coming, and some of these students are not eligible for the ELA classes because they're testing too high for them. So this has been a great opportunity for them, those that are interested in accounting or business classes. And we currently have a few students in them. They're doing great, which is just fantastic because they are in our credit-seeking classes, but they're also receiving the assistance from the adult education department for some of their language skills. And this semester we were even able to help these students with one of their classes because we had some resource for excellence funding. So it was a win-win for these students. They're having great success. We're getting kudos from their teachers, which is one of the systems that Harper uses to say when students are doing well. It's a great communication system between advisors and teachers and support staff. So these students, were getting kudos on them, and it's been working. It's been very successful. So another thing too that I've noticed is that these students are being very proactive in scheduling appointments, and they are definitely looking for the next step. I have 2 students right now who have appointments set up because they want to know what's next for them after they finish this ICAPS program, and they want to know all about what they can do for job placement and learning about the resources at Harper so that they can make that next step into using their certificate toward their career.
District 214 did enter a contest, Minds That Move Us, a few years ago, and we were one of 10 schools across the nation that were selected to participate. We did not win. However, we were able to develop a program then for a manufacturing credential pathway. So we teamed up with Symbol Institute, and we were teaching our students or helping them pursue and receive a credential from NIMS, which is a national organization for machines. And through this, they earned a CNC lathe or a CNC mill or both, entry level position. And they were also able to earn a measurements, materials, and safety NIMS credential, which is really quality control. And we had a partnership with them. It worked out. However, Symbol Institute didn't feel that they need us. They were an institute. They do teach this. They, were a for-profit organization. So we went our separate ways, and through the Technology and Manufacturing Association in Schaumburg, we were able to get a teacher from them, and she worked with us through about half of the pandemic And then she had to stop for personal reasons. And then we've had some difficulties getting teachers ever since, but we now have one that we can start back up again in January. District 211 did not have an ICAPS program or develop one that we're able to use. My superintendent felt very strongly that our job was to get people to Harper, that was an agreement between the districts, and wanted to make sure that we were able to find a way to get students to Harper College for credentials. So we've had Harper's outreach to districts 211 and 214. So as my job in transitions coordinator in District 214, I developed a letter system for our bridge students. So our bridge students need to write a letter to me, which is helping with their writing skills, and they copy their teachers so the teachers can see what skills they might need with letter writing as well. And in that letter, they need to introduce themselves, tell a little bit about their background and what their goals are. And from those letters, then I am able to reach out to Nancy for sure, and anyone else that I might need to help these students find the next step, find the transition after these bridge classes of where they're going to go. So that's something that we'll introduce in District 211 as well, and begin with that step from the bridge students.
Yeah, so Julie has her students write these letters, and then when she has an idea of what it is that they're interested in, she'll send me an email and CC her students on them. So it's kind of, it's our virtual introduction, which is just, it's just so helpful to me, and it's a nice transition from the student, from Julie to me. So then I start reaching out. So then I reach out to the student and CC Julie so that she knows what I'm working with the student. But I tell them just what their next steps would be. Give them information about their certificate program or the program that they might be interested in, and what their next steps would be to apply to that program. And then it's always caveated with, if you need any help, if you want to meet in person, let's do that, which is most often taken advantage of. I love when students come on campus to Harper, make an appointment with me, because then I can show them around. It's a great opportunity for me to walk them to the building that they need to go to so that they can get a little bit more acclimated with Harper. In addition to those emails that Julie sends, she and I coordinate, we coordinate visits so that I visit the District 211 and the 214 classes who are nearing the end of their program and ready to move on. I do on-site visits in their classrooms. We talk about some of the different programs that are available to them. Julie often lets me know, or the teachers let me know ahead of time, what they might be interested in so that I can do a little bit of background research so that I can bring specific careers into the class that I know students might be interested in addition to the ones that many students go into. We have flyers that we share between each other about the different programs that are running at Harper. And something that we restarted after the pandemic, which was, it was a lot of fun last year. We'll be doing it again this year, are our college experience days, where students from Harper, District 214 and 211, they come to Harper for 2 days, and it's a day in the life of a college student. So they go to little mini classes, they learn about what they would do in specific careers, how much money they could expect to make, what kind of education they would need for those careers. And then we end the day with a pizza party. So that's a lot of fun. It's in addition to my sharing what the resources are at Harper, College Experience Day, we have tables with the many different resources and some fun giveaways for students to come and learn more about the resources that Harper has for them. Another thing that we do with the students is we acclimate them, and we put them in touch with the Job Placement Resource Center. At Harper, we call it the JPRC, which helps students write resumes, cover letters, interview, tells them, gives them information on what they could wear for an interview. So again, great resources that not only help students with what they need to do, but build them. It helps them to build their confidence, which we can't do enough of. And then one of the things we do too is we streamline the services that Harper has with 211 and 214 so that we can better focus on the needs of the students. But I can't say enough that the communication between the two of us just enables us to provide the students with what it is for them to be successful.
And from the high school district side, I can't tell you how often the students come back after that experience day so full of energy and talk to the class about it, which is great because that's what we need them to do to spread the word that, yes, they could understand some things during that class. The language wasn't a barrier or not a big barrier, and how nice the facilities are and things like that too. Then to talk a little bit about the growing pains. Of course, students often say, well, I can't go to Harper, it's too expensive, transportation, things like that. So financial barriers is probably the biggest, but once in a while the transportation barriers are as well. So in District 211, we decided to apply and receive the Innovation Bridge and Transitions grant. And we use that grant then to help with the financial barriers. So if students do complete our bridge programs, they're successful with it, and we can transition them to Harper College, we can give them a stipend of $1,000 to help offset their cost for these classes, either the credit side or the credential side. And we had some success with that last year. That was the first year that we've done it. So after our agreement was approved in the spring, one of our students who was in our bridge program, came to me and said, my husband is down at U of I can't afford these classes. And so we talked about the stipend to provide it, and we provided her stipend to pay for her first class, pay for her books, for her scrubs, because she was going in the CNA program, and also for her second class. So using that grant has helped offset financial barriers. And of course, she's a success story for us there. And other students who have had difficulty with transportation, then we've used a taxi service that has been used by the day school as well. And they're able to get the students then to their classes at Harper College.
Some other growing pains that we've had were the referral system. There are a lot of students, and we need to make sure that we can get in touch with all of them so that we can tell them what some of the resources that they are, like the American Job Center. I think sometimes our students are afraid to reach out to us because either they're not sure about how to ask questions, or they're not sure about the resources that we have, which is why the more we can tell them what's out there. One of the things that we keep telling them is there are so many resources that we could never tell you about all of them. So if you are open with us about what it is that you need or what barriers you may have, then we're here to help you find the resources that you need to eliminate those barriers and to move forward. So the referral system, we're working with students and we're working with each other, and our communication has grown such that things are becoming easier and easier, and the barriers are breaking down between us and with the students so that we can work together to put them in place with the resources that they need. Communication, email can be a lot. So we're trying to look into a central documentation area for us so that we can internally document our notes and what we're working on with each other. So just in the past couple of weeks, Julie's come up with some great ideas for us to do that. So we're starting to work better at having a system where we can all access the same documents. So it's been helpful in the past couple of weeks, and I see it being very helpful in the near future.
So I will put up our contact information, and I can copy this and put this in chat as well. So if you have any questions about this, then please feel free to reach out. And with that, I'll stop sharing so that Margaret can tell you from the ROE side of what they've done to be able to meet WIOA expectations.
Thank you, Julie and Nancy. We really appreciate you sharing. And yes, thanks for putting your contact information in the chat. And if you have questions for Julie or Nancy, please go ahead and put those in the chat now, or you can reach out to them another time. But we are going to transition at this point to ROE 33 and Carl Sandburg College.
Screen sharing. It says double click to enter full screen. You can't see my.
Margaret, we're not seeing, I'm just seeing a blank screen at this point.
Okay, I'm going to stop sharing and try this again.
Perfect.
Now, can you see it now?
Yes. Now you're rocking and rolling.
All right, fantastic. I'm going to play a little video for y'all for just a little bit. This is just a video of one of our meetings that took place sometime last year, as I recall. And while this video is playing, I just want to let you all know that I'm here with Kan-hee Hong from Carl Sandburg and Ellen Burns, also from Carl Sandburg. I'll let them introduce themselves.
Hello, I'm Kan-hee Hong. I am the Director of Workforce Development and Community Education.
And I'm Ellen Burns. I'm the Dean of Career and Technical Education here at Sandburg.
So with that, I'm going to kind of stop this. I think you guys kind of got the idea of maybe a little bit about our meetings. And we're over here on the western side as far as our APC. And what's unique about us is that the ROE provides the adult education in our APC. And we work with Carl Sandburg as a partner for the CTE. So that's a little bit unique about us. With that, we started a advisory team for the ICAPs, and that's been very critical for us in order to get some of the ICAPs up and going. So we've got some standing people that are on our team. Obviously, Ellen and Kan-hee are two of the standing members. And then we've got some rotating seats that we have so that we can bring on people throughout our processes that are needed at the time. For example, if we're developing an ICAPS, we want to make sure that the teacher that's going to be teaching the ICAPS is involved in that process. We brought on financial aid. Obviously, that's a barrier we know for our students. So we want to make sure that the financial aid person is brought in, and we continuously have those conversations. And then moving along to our ICAPS advisory team, as far as some of the advantages of that is that clear and ongoing communication has been absolutely wonderful. We're able to get some things moving and shaking in a short period of time instead of a bunch of emails and things of that nature. We end up having these meetings once a month. We always have an agenda with a purpose so that everybody knows exactly what we're meeting for and what we're going to accomplish during that meeting. Most of our meetings are done in less than an hour unless we have a work type situation. Sorry. If we have a situation where we have to if we have a situation where we need to create an ICAPS, we'll work on the jot form together. So we know that already we're going to extend that meeting past the hour, so we can all mark our schedules and be aware of that, so that we're making sure that we know what everybody's doing as far as, if it's going to be a 2-hour meeting, we know ahead of time that it's a 2-hour meeting. Sorry about that. I got a little distracted.
Another thing that we do is we utilize Google to share documents. So we have live working documents, whether we're in person or if we're meeting on Zoom, we all have access between our separate entities to be working collaboratively in those documents. That's been incredibly helpful. A little learning curve. We're a Microsoft Teams school, so we were used to SharePoint, OneNote on our side, had to adapt and learn Google, but it's been great to have that platform to utilize.
And so at the last Convos session last year, we got together and we really identified what our low-hanging fruit was. And that's what we really wanted to start with. As far as the ICAPS, we had 0 ICAPS started back at this time last year. And then we were able to kind of move things along quite quickly thanks to Chad from over there at Spoon River. There's a shout out to you, Chad, because he graciously shared his CNA ICAPS that was already approved. So we were able to start with that and then go into the convos with just being able to identify some of that other low-hanging fruit. And then we proceeded to work on our automotive engines ICAPS, and then we created another one for automotive transmissions. And that was quite successful. We're looking at working on our CNC at this time and some other things. So that's a little bit about our low-hanging fruit. And then we obviously identified what our top 3 were and moved forward. Phlebotomy is still on hold for right now, and we're okay with that. There's some things that we have to tie up before we can move forward. And so the biggest thing that we've done is really identify the successful programs out there that are running and reach out to them and kind of start with something already on paper and some ideas, so we can move through a little bit faster. And then, of course, we have some challenges that have to be overcome. If Ellen, if you want to maybe talk a little bit about the challenges from the Carl Sandburg side.
Yeah, so when we were approached about starting ICAPS, it was a very new concept here at Sandburg, and so of course there's some hesitation that we had to work through, and from a variety of sources, but one would be our faculty, because this is new to them. They're thinking, this is extra work for me. What does this look like? And so we were able to utilize different resources to ease those concerns. One was to connect them with other ICAPS CTE instructors in the state. And so we mentioned on the previous screen, at Triton College, they have a successful automotive ICAPS, so we were able to connect our faculty with their faculty to talk through what it looks like. And then the sharing of the ICAPS instructor videos there on the ICAPS website was also beneficial to us. And it was also nice to build the relationship between the bridge instructor and the ICAPS instructor, embedded support instructor, to build that trust that they'd be in their classroom with them from time to time and what that would look like. The other piece that we did is we invited our faculty into our ICAPS advisory team meetings on a rotating basis and as needed as we were developing the ICAPS. Once we've launched them, they've rotated off, but they're always welcome to join us as they're able. Another piece that we were concerned about was starting ICAPS programs for programs that don't have full-time faculty, because we're a smaller rural institution. We don't have full-time faculty in all of our programs. So we started by identifying programs that had full-time faculty support, people that were going to be here for many years in their role. For example, when we first talked about automotive, we knew our instructor was in his final year, and we decided that might not be a great time to launch ICAPS until we get a new instructor in. We were also in the midst of moving our entire automotive program from one portion of the campus to another, and thought, too many disruptions right now. Let's pause, but let's keep it on the list. And when the timing is right, we'll go for it, which we did. And it's been successful by just taking a pause and being realistic about what's within our reach, what we have the capacity to do and the resources to do in a timely manner. So back to the piece about programs that don't have full-time faculty, we knew with adjunct faculty, they may have to put in extra time to support ICAPS outside of the classroom. Since they don't have office hours, we built in funding into our Perkins plan to provide stipends or release time for the support they provide outside of the classroom. So that would be their time working with the students, meeting with their embedded support instructor outside of class. We've not yet had to use that because at the current time our programs are all programs offered by full-time faculty, but as we start down the path of CNC in the spring, I foresee that being utilized to our advantage and to the students' advantage for success for them as well.
Awesome, thank you. As far as some other challenges that we needed to overcome is we have some of our high school credit students that are involved in the ICAPS, and just having some of the teachers understand that when they're gone on Monday and Wednesday all day, they're still learning, and they're still learning math, but they're learning math in a different way. And there was some hesitation at first, and after probably 6 weeks, there's no hesitation right now. They understand that the student is learning and learning at a high level. So that's been absolutely fantastic, the way that all worked out. As far as some of the other challenges is just new staff and new faculty, and having to train those people. It takes time, right? The other piece is making sure that we've got somebody that really can build that relationship with the instructor, with the student, and with the Carl Sandburg staff. That's huge and absolutely important. Because of the relationship and the fact that we're meeting together and things of that nature, we've actually had some success in turning over a WIOA application in a relatively short amount of time. It was started, and unfortunately there was maybe a misunderstanding of an AccuPlacer test that needed to take place. When the student was asked and when the parent was asked, the student already took the AccuPlacer, and they did that back in May, but when it got right down to it, the student didn't take the AccuPlacer test. What they really thought was the AccuPlacer test was actually the CASAS test. So that created some problems for the application process, but we were able to get that turned around relatively quickly, thanks to a lot of help from Con Hee over at Carl Sandburg, as well as the testing center and all kinds of different things. So it was nice to have that relationship already built around the table as far as the ICAPS advisory team to get those things moving.
And to put that into perspective, our student for automotive ICAPS this fall came in the Friday before classes started on Monday and took the AccuPlacer test, registered for classes. We got them connected with WIOA, gave them a tour of campus, connected them with a loaner laptop, and worked with WIOA to get all of their supplies in place before classes started that following week. So it was there were a lot of moving pieces and a lot of partnerships that came into play there to make sure everyone knew the point person for every step along the way. And by Monday, he was in class, and he's doing a fabulous job this fall.
And that was a nice relationship to have when you're losing one person and replacing that person with another that would have normally taken care of that. So again, a great shout out to having that advisory team in place. These are some of the ICAPs that we're currently working on and where we're going. We just had our Bridge to Careers approved, I think it was last week sometime, so super excited about that. All of our students in the high school diploma classes as well as the high school credit classes will be taking that Bridge to Careers class at some point this year. As far as some of our successes, Ellen, do you want to talk a little bit about that first bullet point?
Yeah, one of the highlights is that on the Perkins side of the house, we were able to create an additional entry point into our CTE programs at the community college. And this was an exciting piece for me when I first came into this role. I had talked with Joe McQueen, who's the principal at our alternative school through the Regional Office of Education, and he was desiring to have a way for the students in the ROE alternative school program to take dual credit or to be taking CTE courses while they're working on their high school equivalency. And so when I heard about ICAPS, I started putting two and two together and realized this is a great option to make that come to fruition. So we now have that, and we're excited to grow and offer more programs in the future.
And so we started small. We had one student in the spring with the CNA ICAPS, and now we've got a couple ICAPS going, and we've got a student in each, the CNA and the automotive engines. And we've built the support class in order to handle multiple classes. So we've also built the support class to extend past the Carl Sandburg schedule so that the student that's in the CNA can actually study for the exam in the support class and take the actual test during that support class so that we can ensure that they are certified. As far as some other successes is just really that strong collaborative relationship between all of ourselves. We actually have some fun together, and it's really nice to be flexible. Just we had a situation where we're going to be moving our evening high school diploma classes as well as our ESL classes over to Carl Sandburg. There was a little bit of maybe at least one person that wasn't real happy with that. So I was able to call Conhee and kind of express, is there any way that we can maybe take a tour with our nighttime students? And she was able to set up that tour, talk with the students, and there is no question as far as whether we should or should not have the classes at night over at Carl Sandburg. The students are super excited. And through that process, we took them on a tour, or I should say Conhee took them on a tour of the manufacturing building. And more students are interested in the automotive classes, the welding classes, and the CNC classes that we're going to get up and going. So that was absolutely fantastic. And again, it was nice to have those relationships already established. And then I want Conhee to go ahead and talk a little bit about that AccuPlacer in the library and some other things, if you would, please.
Yes, so speaking of the partnership and being flexible in providing support services, so the AccuPlacer we talked about, that is entrance exam for students in order to enroll at Sandburg, and we've learned that there are some students who were struggling because just like other exams, different exams have different styles of questioning. So we were able to quickly build a AccuPlacer prep tutoring support from Sandburg side. So our adult students can utilize that service. Even though they're not yet Carl Sandburg College students, because they are potential students, we were able to support that. And we also were able to reserve a library study room so that our ICAP students don't have to travel back and forth from ROE site to Sandburg, and they can just remain at Sandburg site for their support class as well. And having the wraparound support person, who is me, for the ICAP, that is really wonderful. Just like Margaret said, when there is any need from adult ed program for maybe observing the classes or just having that overall ICAPS just to-go person on Sandburg site, that would be me. So that's another partnership and flexibility that we support for ICAPS program.
Thanks, Conhee. We did have a video here with some student testimonials, but for some looking at the time and so on and so forth. We do have a formal feedback loop where we do have a student survey so that we're continuously improving the different services that we offer the students. That has worked out very well for us. And there's Nathan, who's on this testimonial, is quite the salesman to our other students about the ICAP. So he's absolutely amazing and quite respected by some of the other people that are in the class. And they know he's the whiz actually right now. So as far as some of the final comments or thoughts for anybody is really that advisory team is really, really critical for us and keeps our communication open and quick rather than a bunch of emails and maybe misunderstandings. Not that we don't email each other, we do on occasion, but most of it is through our meetings. Kind of hold off until then for the most part. And then you guys can read the screen for the rest. I don't need to read it to you. And then the final thing is just really the permission to start small and just get going. So I don't know if you guys have any questions for us. I'm going to stop sharing my screen. Stop.
Thank you very much to the Carl Sandburg and ROE 33 partnership. And any of you, I have the ability to unmute if you have a question for any of our presenters today. I will just mention, I think it was apparent in all 5 of you as you were talking about how your passion for your learners, your heart for your learners, and that you, that you enjoy having a partnership. And I think that really benefits your students. So kudos to all of you for that. We thank you for that. And we'll just give a minute and see if anybody has any questions. Okay, at any point I'll stop talking, but I have 2 questions, so I'm going to ask them. And if anybody else, you can, I'm not hogging the mic here. Well, I am, but feel free to take it away from me. So Margaret, I think you said that you were planning to have all of your students go through this new bridge that you just had approved. Tell us a little bit more about that. What's the plan?
So we have a Bridge to Careers bridge that was just approved. So the plan is starting on Monday that all of our adult ed, the students that are working towards our high school diploma, will start taking that class. It'll be delivered by the instructors and then supported by our Bridge and Transition Services and Bridge and ICAPS instructors. And then our high school credit students, there's going to be a few of them that look to be graduating perhaps in December. We're going to start small with them and run them through that bridge program as well. And then the third quarter starting in January, the rest of the high school credit students will take that bridge class really to help them identify their career pathway. It'll have the FAFSA information in there and all kinds of basic information for the students to be successful moving forward. And then learn a little bit more perhaps about the different ICAPs that we have available and things of that nature. So the idea is that everybody will complete a bridge class. And we're doing the same thing with on the other side with the IELCE bridge, where we have built in the different career pathways into the IELCE bridge so that all of our ESL students are also going through a bridge, at least the students that are at NRS level 5 and 6 for now. And we're hoping to build that down to level 3 by the end of next year.
Thank you. That's awesome. Yeah, well, there's a question in the chat. How do you secure funding for an instructor for an ICAP support class with just 2 students? A class that size would not make in our district.
So we've been very, very fortunate. In order to kick everything off, we were able to secure the IBT grant last year. So that has afforded us that ability. And we are looking at, hopefully in January, there should be more students in that support class. We're going to also be opening it up to different CNA classes that are running at different times, which will allow for different flexibility as well. So through grant funding and being lucky is how we got started. So we're hoping to be able to support that moving forward.
I will also mention, because especially if you are an early adopter of ICAPS in Illinois, there has been some evolution of thought at ICCB and what they will accept. So they are accepting sometimes to stack support classes if there's some common ground in the information. So just kind of letting you know, if you think that that's a non-starter, set up a time to talk. Let's talk about possibilities. because there is a little bit more flexibility in that than there was in the original model that was out, 9-10 years ago. Mentioning that. Also, another thing I was going to ask is, because I had the pleasure of attending your last meeting, Ellen, I believe it was you, and I'm going to try to remember now, but you made a comment, because you're that CTE side of the house, and you made a comment about some promotion from adult education. And does that ring a bell?
Yes, and are you referring to when we first got started?
Yeah, well, I'm thinking it was a very interesting flip on, and so for all the adult ed folks who are visiting this session, I'd love for you to share your perspective on that.
Okay, so when we started the conversation about ICAPS, Kang-hee here with me, who's now on my team, was actually working for the ROE, and she had reached out about ICAPS. And we knew that that was being pushed by the state and would be required for the adult ed partners, but they didn't necessarily have to partner with us. And it wasn't required by us, but I could see the benefits. And Kang-hee is a very good salesperson, bless her heart. And she went and recruited the help of Angela, Tara, and Sarah. I think those were the three that were in that initial meeting, and asked them to come into a meeting with us to explain the benefits of ICAPS. So having that external partner that wasn't local was really helpful, to have them come in and build that buy-in from our leadership within the community college and the CTE portion of the team. And so that's where I always recommend, if you're an adult ed provider and you're trying to get buy-in from your CTE partners, invite those gals in and invite your ICCB partners in to share why it's important to build an ICAPS model within your institution.
And I think part of what is going on right now is there's probably a CNC class that's most likely going to run starting in January. And if everything works out the way it looks like it's going to work out, it's going to be because of the adult ed students being able to provide those extra numbers in order to run that class, which didn't run from my understanding last year. Is that correct?
It is correct. And I've been working on selling the idea of ICAPS, and I said, hey, here's an excellent opportunity to grow our enrollment in our CNC program. It's at night. We tend to have a lot of adult learners in that class. We have really compassionate, helpful instructors that will be there to support those students along the way. I think this will work. So, hey, let's try this out and see if it grows enrollment in that program. And it's looking very promising for the spring to launch that program.
Thank you so much for sharing. And yeah, and that's awesome. And I love to hear that a class is going to make, because that's a benefit. Just think of how many people win in that situation. The college wins, the instructor wins, the adult education folks win, all the students who may not have been in a class, because if it didn't make, all the people that wanted to be in would lose out. So, I mean, it's such a great example. So thank you for sharing that. And I guess, Ellen, are you available for hire across the state if anybody wants to?
I don't know, maybe I'll do some video opportunities to at least sing the praises of the adult ed and the ICAPS team.
Right. Having a champion is key also, because as you guys talked about earlier in your slides about talking with an instructor, an industry instructor from another college, was helpful in kind of selling the message to your instructor. So yeah, for sure. All right.
And I feel like once we got that initial buy-in, then things really started falling into place, and they happened very quickly once we got over that initial hurdle.
I think the other part that was really important is there was a rumor out there that there was a lot more work to ICAPS, and by having the instructor in and going to them and asking, wait a minute, I didn't think this was a lot of work. What am I missing here? And it's like, that's a lot of misinformation, because quite honestly, it's a lot less work because the ICAPS support person is taking that role on. So it was really wonderful to have that instructor singing the praise of less work instead of more work in order to create an ICAPS class. So that was wonderful.
And I think when they could see that there was support of a team and a team that was built of not just one entity, but multiple entities and even our WIOA folks, that gave them the confidence to move forward.
Fantastic. Thank you. Thank you. Anybody? So we have just a couple of minutes till we close out. Does anybody have any other questions for this brain trust? All right. Well, let me just say, Ben, you got a question? No, but it's good to see you. It's always good to see Ben Greer. Right? Everybody agrees with me on that. So everybody, thank you so much for the work that you're doing. Thank you for sharing today. Thanks for being part of the Transitions Academy Fall Convening. Hope to see you next week at the cohort convos. We are going to go ahead and end this session, and you have one final general session that will start at 3:15 today. Ellen mentioned several times about using Perkins dollars, and so that's some of what that session is going to talk about. So if you want to learn more, and Ann Story from ICCB and Angela Gerberding are going to share about using Perkins 5 funding, and then also about ability to benefit. So again, thank you all very much.